Welcome. I wanted to talk in this video about why do people move to Texas, and this is my personal research. Okay, so we as a family have decided to move to Texas very soon, as you know. Even though we've made our decision, we're still very curious about the reasons for people and what makes them want to move to Texas. So as per the Texas Tribune, the state is growing at a rate of 1,000 people per day. So you heard that right, not per year, not per month or a week, per day. 1,000 people per day come to Texas from other states. As I own this channel and run a blog, comingtotexas.com, I decided to do my own research on the matter to share it with you and help you understand a little bit better why so many people move to Texas. Okay, so I posted in a few groups, investigated on Reddit a little bit, and tried to find some credible articles and credible sources that I could get some good information from. I'm also going to include some actual responses to the question that I posted in those groups and on Reddit from people that I have received those responses from. So please watch to the end, because that's where those are going to be. I will not be including anyone's name due to those people's rights to privacy. Okay, so this is what I came up with altogether. As far as I was able to find out, there were a lot of people moving to Texas for around a decade now, which I had no clue. I never really noticed that trend that much until I myself got interested in moving to Texas. The main reasons used to be jobs, lower cost of living, cheaper homes, lower taxes, and similar things. And in the last year or so, as I ask people and get their responses, investigate and research, I see that those reasons still apply, but have taken a back seat to two others that did not really matter as much before. So those two that took position 1 and 2, and you could discuss which one is more important, are politics and freedom. Freedom of choice on medical issues especially, aka the jab. People are tired of the constant push to mask up themselves and their kids. People are tired of this discrimination by jab status. They don't want digital passports with their medical records on them when they enter a restaurant or a sports venue. And still some venues in Texas do require proof of it, if you know what I mean. Now, just to mention about the sports venues in Texas, I checked up on the Dallas Mavericks, for example. And from what I was able to find out, the organization did require proof of it to enter the arena and watch the games, and that was around October last year. And they did change their stance a little bit, and now you have to provide a negative test within the 48 hours before you enter the arena. And also, if you're seated within 15 feet of the basketball court, you need to have a proof of the it. Okay, so if you want to sit closer to the court and spend more money and stuff like that for the seats, you still have to show that proof of it. It is what it is, and the Mavericks are under the NBA rules as well, so they have to kind of work with that. But most people are only have to have a negative test, like I said before. Just for comparison, the Dallas Cowboys do not require proof of jab or even a negative test for that matter. There's a text on the Cowboys website which goes exactly like this. Unvaccinated fans are encouraged to wear a mask, not made or forced to. Fans must not come to the stadium if they have it or were exposed to it or have symptoms of it. Please take your temperature before leaving for the stadium. So I think that's very reasonable, and people have their own decisions to make on what they're going to do. As an example, in New York City, if you want to go to a Knicks game, if you're unvaccinated at all, you cannot enter the arena and watch the Knicks, period. This is what most people want. They want to be free and able to choose for themselves what they do and when. That is priceless to most people. I will not get into a deep dive on this specific matter because I want this video to be as informative on the general question of why people move to Texas. So there are private businesses that are allowed their own rules, but most of Texas is free of mandates and such things like that. I have a friend living just north of Dallas, for example, and his young child is attending school with no mask and no mask requirement. Teachers in that school don't wear them, they don't wear masks, and the kids don't wear the masks either. That is what most, not all people moving to Texas want and cherish. The whole issue here also is most of Texas is trying to live as normal life as possible. So I personally visited a few weeks ago and I have seen it with my own eyes. I currently still reside in New York, and visiting Texas was like visiting a different world. I refuse to visit and go to New York City because of the draconian rules and regulations that have been in effect with the passports and all that other stuff. So if you come to Texas from a place where there was no talk about the sickness, you might not even know or notice there's anything going on if you don't really take a hard look. One reason that most people are moving to Texas are also lower taxes opposed to the stuff that I just mentioned. So taxes on a home in a suburb of Dallas are around $7,000 right now. I'm talking about a regular one-family home, 4 bedrooms and things like that. In New York, we own a house about that size, and in the suburbs of New York, we pay $12,000 per year. So that's almost double. The house in New York is old, in an old neighborhood, and we pay a lot more. The house in Texas is brand new, in a brand new neighborhood, and the taxes are much less, at least for now. That might of course change, but for now they're much less. There is also no state income tax in Texas. Although many people say the actual income is a little bit less, but from what I've seen, I talk to people, I talk to my friend, not always. If it is, it's not a big difference depending on what you actually do. A big reason is also a very quick expanding jobs market. There are lots of jobs in Texas. Because Texas is growing so fast, so many people are moving there, and especially because of the unconventional oil and gas boom in the state. All of this has helped turn Texas into an economic juggernaut. People don't expect it, but growth has also been very strong in sectors like tech, manufacturing, and business services. Another reason that I can mention, life in Texas is just cheaper. It's cheaper, it's not the taxes. If it's not the taxes we have mentioned before and the lower prices of homes, it is the price of everyday things like groceries, gas, and other things that we all purchase on a daily basis. In New York, San Francisco, and LA, if you're blue collar, you will be renting forever pretty much, struggling to make ends meet. Or if you somehow manage to buy a house, you will use almost everything you make just not to get evicted or foreclosed on. People in Texas have a better shot at getting some of the things associated with the middle class life. There's also the thing that Texas just has fewer rules, meaning that there are far less regulations. For example, it is much easier to start a business in Texas. The classic social contract in Texas is we're not going to do a ton to help you, but we're also not going to get in your way. Mortgage lending is an obnoxious exception for that. But there has also been strong opposition to banning texting while driving and proposed taxes on soda and things like that. By my own experience, people in Texas are just nicer. Like I said before, I currently still reside in New York, and the comparison is clear for me. I've never went to a 7-Eleven in New York, bought something, and maybe asked the person behind the counter a question, and heard a response like, "Yes, sir. Of course, sir." It is great to feel just, treated with respect. That's great. I also noticed a simple thing like holding the door for people. People in Texas will hold the door for you many more times than not. In New York, you can expect them to, but then flatten your nose on the glass at the last second. The state itself likes to proclaim itself as an unpretentious, down-to-earth place where people are easy to get along with. From what I saw, that's true. Now, there are also other reasons people move to Texas, as you will see in the responses I received on my questions I posted in some groups on the subject. But there's an awesome saying I have learned from true Texans. They all say something like this: welcome, just don't bring your California with you. The same applies to New York, Illinois, and pretty much every Democratic state. You know, Texas is Texas because it's red. Here are the responses I've received to the question, what are your reasons to move to Texas? Work, politics, schooling. Another one. I love the people, politics, and freedom. Whenever we get a few weeks off, we hook up the fifth wheel and head to Texas for a few weeks. I'm usually there in the winter months, plus Thanksgiving and Easter. It's so much easier being happy when you're around like-minded people. My husband is a disabled veteran, and I can see the stress melt off of him while we're in Texas. We do get a few FUs and flip-offs because of our license plates. I didn't, just saying. But once people talk to us, they realize we are just like them. We're actually looking for an RV spot, a small house with RV hookup to buy in South Texas so we can get out of our current state that we fought so hard for but are just too outnumbered to make a difference. Another one, politics. Born and raised in California, and it has been a shit show for a while. The mandates were still being forced to deal with, and the crime has skyrocketed here. I was lucky enough to buy my house 11 years ago and can afford to live here. Raising my kid in California doesn't seem ideal. I'm very conservative and I like my guns, booze, and freedom. Another one, I don't want my kids in masks for the rest of their lives, and ready for freedom and conservative values. Another one, it's a vibe I can't explain it. I just felt a sense of peace and solitude when I'm in Texas and the strong values. Another one, I felt peaceful when I visited my dad. Each time I go to Texas, I feel a great sense of peace and freedom. I can't live with my dad because he's a smoker and he doesn't leave his apartment for anything. Another one, to find a damn good office job to fit with my MBA and to get away from the California politics. Please, no more warehouse crap. Another one, slower pace and not so crowded where we're going. Another one, family, politics, freedom, cost of living. Another one, our sons and family live there. We're so undecided. We also have two sons living here, so in South California with their families, but our youngest grandchildren need us there. We have lived in our home for 35 years and married 46. My heart breaks. We do Austin 3 times a year and stay weeks. It's so hard to say goodbye. We ask God to let us know when it's time to leave. Another one, I don't want to wear a mask, nor do I want to see anyone wear them. I don't want to go anywhere where I'm required to be vaccinated. Another one, welcome to Texas. You're here for a lower cost of living and more freedom. Remember to not vote Democrat so we can keep it that way. So those are just some of the comments for the question that I received. There are a lot more responses and a lot more questions. Now, if you would be interested for me to make a separate video just showing all of the reasons given, that's great. I don't want to place them all here because I think this video is running already a little bit long. I hope that you enjoyed this video, have subscribed to the channel for more videos like this one. I hope you liked this video as well because it is very important to the YouTube algorithm, so many more people will be suggested this video and get this important information. Thank you again, and I will see you in the next one.